Good day everyone, I am Priscilla Jane Salop, a third-year Best Ed MAPI student. Under this program is Philippine and Asian music. So here is my review of the 9 countries that we had tackled. So let's go to the Philippines! First is the Philippines. So we all know that Philippines is one of the most beautiful lands on earth. We have scenic panoramas and natural wonders which delight visitors of all corners of the world. So in every country there are different traditional instruments, songs, dances, costumes, and lastly the food, which I like very much. So let's go to their instruments. So in terms of their traditional instruments, I learned that there are 4 types of instruments: the aerophones or wind instruments, the chordophones or the string instruments, the idiophones or shall we say percussion instruments, and lastly is the membranophones, that is drum sounds. And among the common traditional music instruments used in the Philippines are kulintang, kujapi, kubing, gimbal, and tunggali. So that's the review of my instruments. So let's go to their traditional song. In terms of their traditional songs, the traditional songs of the Philippines has a lot of strong connection with nature. The traditional song of the Philippines have a deep meaning, like the magtanim ay di biro, ili-ili tulog anay, bahay kubo, and leron-leron sinta. So let's go to their dances. So in terms of their traditional dances, it influences from immigrants and conquerors, while at the same time maintaining distinctly Filipino roots. And it is true reflection of daily life of past centuries, while enchanting modern audiences at the same time. So let's go to their traditional costumes. So in terms of their traditional costume, Filipino national costume is rather colorful, ornate, and beautiful. And Filipino folk dresses is very unique, authentic, and even tribal. So let's go to their traditional foods. So in terms of their traditional foods, it is true that it is a true melting pot, and each dish is a time capsule influenced by neighboring countries and cultural occupations. So this is my review of the first country, the Philippines. Thank you. Let's go to the second country, which is the Malaysia. So the country is multi-ethnic and multicultural, which plays a big role in its politics. So let's go to their traditional instruments. So let's go to their traditional instrument. The instruments of Malaysia are different from the Philippines, but they are just similar of the 4 types of the instruments. So we all know that the 4 types of instruments are present in all countries, like the aerophones, idiophones, chordophones, and membranophones. So let's go to their traditional songs. So in terms of their traditional songs, It has a variety of regions and is largely based on percussion instruments. So I learned that there are characteristics of Malaysian music, there are instrumental music, the gamelan and the nobat. There are many traditional folk songs, but the reporter only wrote three song, that is Anak Dagang, Chan Malichan, and Rosa Sayang. So each of the song has a different meaning. So let's go to their traditional dances. So in terms of their traditional dances, Malay dance portrays the costumes and cultures of the Malay, and it depicts the true nature of the people and their way of life. So let's go to their traditional costumes. So in terms of their traditional costumes, the array of Malaysian traditional costume and textiles are stunningly diverse and colorful. Most Malaysian dresses like Westerners. So let's go to their traditional foods. So in terms of food, Malaysians are very passionate about foods. Malaysia has inherited a vast array of cuisine from its melting pot of cultures. So that is my review of the second country, which is the Malaysia. Thank you. So let's go to the third country, which is the Indonesia. It is the country in Southeast Asia between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It is the world's largest island country with more than 17,000 islands. So let's go to their traditional instruments. In terms of their traditional instruments, the Malaysian and Indonesia are few of their instruments are similar, like the kendang and serunai, but not of all the countries have similar instruments. Let's go to their traditional songs. In terms of their traditional songs, it demonstrates the cultural diversity, the local musical creativity, as well as subsequent foreign musical influences that shaped contemporary music scenes of Indonesia. So there are many folk songs, but the reporter of the Indonesia just wrote 5, and it has meaning. And if you will not read the meaning or the transition of the song, you will not understand their songs. So let's go to their traditional dances. In terms of their traditional dance has always been an important part of Indonesian culture. So it is important because they used to celebrate an important milestones to someone's life, tell a story, and use as a form of prayer to their gods. Their dance is very slow, and you can feel their emotion or feelings when dancing. So let's go to their traditional costumes. So in terms of their traditional costumes, so the traditional costumes of the Indonesia is the reflection of the people. So their costumes are different from the other countries. So let's go to their traditional food. In terms of their traditional foods, it is a collection of regional culinary traditions that formed the archipelagic nation of Indonesia. So there are different tastes and ingredients to the other countries. So this is my review of the third country, which is the Indonesia. Thank you. let's go to the fourth country, which is the Thailand. Thailand is a Southeast Asian country. It is known for tropical beach, opulent royal palace, ancient ruins, and ornate temple which displays the figures of Buddha. So let's go to their traditional instruments. So in terms of their traditional instruments, the traditional instruments of Thailand are unique to its people and its culture. So many of the instruments come in different sizes for variety in pitch and tone. So let's go to their traditional songs. So in terms of their traditional songs, for all intents and purposes follows the pentatonic scales with the exception of the tuned percussion, which have 7-note octaves. Most songs has 2 beats with stress on a second beat. So let's go to their traditional dances. So in terms of their traditional costumes, their costumes are colorful and elegant and can be worn by everyone. So outfits for women are elaborate and gorgeous, and there are 8 different variations, one for every kind of occasion. So let's go to their food. So in terms of their traditional foods, aside from being aromatic and healthy, Thai food is a unique blend of varying flavors and textures, as it mixes the 5 essential flavors, namely salty, sour, bitter, sweet, and spicy. So that is all my review for this country, which is the Thailand. So thank you. Go to the 5th country, which is the Vietnam. So Vietnam is the easternmost country on the Southeast Asian Indo-Chinese Peninsula. So Hanoi is the capital city of the Vietnam. So let's go to their traditional instruments. In terms of the traditional instruments, most of the traditional Vietnamese instruments are string instruments, percussion instruments, and wind instruments that are made of natural materials like wood, stone, ivory, bamboo, and animal skin. It is not easy to list and tell each kind of instrument because they are too many look similar. So let's go to their traditional songs. So in terms of their traditional song, Vietnamese traditional song is rich by the accumulation of genre, not only by the different ages but also of the numerous ethnic groups, and it has distinctive mode of expression and performance. So now let's go to their traditional dances. So in terms of their traditional dances, the Vietnamese dance comprises the several different forms of dance, including the dance performed in Vietnamese theater and opera, the dance performed at festivals and royal dances in imperial court. So let's go to their traditional costumes. In terms of their traditional costumes, it has a vast variety in clothing styles, similar only to affinity to bright, contradictory colors and vibrant patterns. So let's go to their traditional foods. In terms of their traditional food, Vietnamese cuisine encompasses food and beverages in Vietnam. It is greatly admired for its fresh ingredients and minimal use of dairy and oil, contemporary texture, and reliance of herbs and vegetables. So that's my review for the fifth country, which is the Vietnam. Thank you. So let's go to the sixth country, which is China. A country in East Asia, is populous nation whose vast landscape encompasses grassland, lakes, river, mountains, and deserts, and more than 14,000 kilometers of coastline. And the capital city of China is Beijing. So let's go to their traditional instruments. So in terms of their traditional instruments, each of the instruments produces unique sound and effects. And let's go to their traditional songs. So in terms of their traditional songs, music marks ceremonies, celebrations, and climatic events, and it requires calm, tranquil, and yes, orderly music. So let's go to their traditional dance. In terms of their traditional dance in China have grown out religious rituals and has a long association with theater and martial arts. So now let's go to their traditional costumes. In terms of their traditional costumes, Chinese clothing has been shaped to its dynastic traditions as well as foreign influences. So now let's go to their traditional food. So in terms of their traditional food, Chinese traditional dishes are famous for color, aroma, taste, meaning, and appearance. So that's my review for the sixth country, which is the China. Thank you. Let's go to the seventh country, which is the Korea. Korea is a region of East Asia consisting the Korean Peninsula, Jeju Islands, and several islands near the peninsula. So the capital of the North Korea is Pyongyang, and the capital of the South Korea is Seoul. So let's go to their traditional instruments. So in terms of their traditional instruments, Korean instruments are divided into 8 materials. The metal, string, wood, animal skin, clay, stone, gourd, and bamboo. And instruments are classified by the same system used according to how the sound is being produced. And let's go to their traditional song. So in terms of their traditional songs, folk music of Korean represents the soul and sound of the Korean villages. And now let's go to their traditional dances. In terms of their traditional dance, Korean traditional dance has a rich history of culture and storytelling that continues today in many parts of the country. So now let's go to their traditional costumes. So in terms of their costumes, the exquisite and elegant handbook emanates the dignified beauty and embraces the natural harmony of form, structure, and color. So now let's go to the traditional foods. So in terms of their food, Korean cuisine is largely based on rice, vegetables, and meats, and it is once brought all of the unique regional specialties together. So that's my review of the seventh country, which is the Korea. Thank you. So let's go now to the eighth country, which is the Japan. Japan is archipelago or string of islands on the eastern edge of Asia. The Japanese people have a deep affection for the beauty of the landscape. So now let's go to the traditional instruments of Japan. So in terms of traditional instruments, it have been simple in terms of structure and sound producing mechanisms. So now let's go to their traditional songs. So in terms of their traditional songs may be classified into several headings, like the religious songs, work songs, ballads, children's songs, and dancing songs sung at festivals. And now let's go to their traditional dances. In terms of their traditional dances relates to the food producing activities like planting rice, fishing, and including rain dances. And now let's go to their traditional costumes. So in terms of their traditional costumes, Japanese traditional fashion combines multiple styles that reflects on early Japan's visual culture. So now let's go to their traditional food. In terms of their traditional foods, Japanese cuisine encompasses the regional and traditional foods of Japan, which have been developed through centuries through political, economic, and social change. So this is the review of the eighth country, which is the Japan. So let's go now to the last country, or the ninth country, which is Nepal. So Nepal is one of the most beautiful country in Asia. So Asia shows unity in diversity. So now let's go to their traditional instruments. So in terms of their traditional instruments, Nepalese instruments has a strong relationship and a great importance with Nepalese culture, religion, and society. So now let's go to their traditional songs. In terms of their traditional song, the Nepalese traditional song reflects the life of the people, the culture, and the song has different rhythms and melodies. So now let's go to their traditional dances. So in terms of their traditional dances, it accompanies music and music instruments change in tune with the themes which revolve around the topic, like harvesting crops, marriage rites, war stories, and stories of everyday life in the villages. So now let's go to their traditional costumes. So in terms of their traditional costumes are symbolic of the art and culture of their country. So now let's go to their traditional food. In terms of their traditional food, Nepalese cuisine comprises a variety of cuisines based upon ethnicity, soil, climate relating to Nepal's cultural diversity and geography. So that's all for the ninth country, which is the Nepal. Thank you.